If you have got a terrible front rack position, the position that you need on your delts for front squats, for cleans, we need to talk. Now, some of you may have a just fine front rack position. If that's you, good for you. This video is not for you. But some of you are catching your cleans in a real uncomfortable position. You're catching your cleans with your elbows down and all the weights on your hands and your wrists are killing you. So let's start with the simplest approach. The simplest approach is don't stop doing your cleans. Don't stop doing your front squats if you've got them in your program. The best way, the best stretch to get a better front rack position is simply to be in that front rack position. Not surprisingly, the best stretch to warm up for squatting is simply squatting. The best stretch for the front rack position is to be in that front rack position. However, if you're doing cleans maybe once a week, or maybe front squats once a week, that may not be enough time in your front rack position to see some significant improvement. Lucky for you, you can squeeze it into the rest of your training without really adding any time to your training week, because we all understand that that time is valuable. So we don't have time to spend a half an hour before working out and after working out mobilizing and flexibilizing and doing all that stuff. So you can squeeze this into your workout. You can do this front rack stretch. We're going to call it a stretch. It's really just standing up in the front rack position. You can do this in between your warm-up sets of some of your other lifts. You're only going to do it for 20 to 30 seconds at a time. You can do it, the reason why I'm out of breath is because I was doing it in between intervals on the bike. But basically all you're going to do, you would start with the empty bar. Now I've got a little bit of weight on here. You're going to start and simply get into your front rack position. And it might start out looking kind of ugly like this, where your elbows are down. You're going to stay over the hooks in case you run into trouble. You can set it back in the hooks, but your elbows might be down. But over time, you want to work on getting your elbows up and in, okay? You want your elbows pointing as much forward as you can and not down. So really work on getting your elbows up. And you're simply going to spend 20 to 30 seconds. So I've got a timer right here that I can look over, check how much time that I've spent. After I've spent about 30 seconds, set it back in the hooks, go about my day. You can do this several times. I did 4 intervals on the bike. I had some time off in between those intervals, so I spent 20 to 30 seconds every single time. I don't have an amazing front rack position, but I have one that is serviceable for me anyway, for my cleans. But if yours is hurting you, if yours is really uncomfortable, the best way to get better at it is to continue to force yourself to get in to that front rack position. Now, there is kind of a on steroids version of this, and that is to use straps. Now, you do this at your own risk. Don't be stupid. Don't ever, ever do cleans with straps. It's a good way to break a wrist. However, if you want to try this stretch with straps on, you can certainly do that. But again, you want to stay over the hooks would be my recommendation. So you're going to put your hands on the bar with the straps in the same exact position that you would for your cleans and for your front squats. Now, the straps, what they're going to do is they're going to force you to maintain a whole hand grip on the bar. Every time we clean, every time we front squat, we would like all of our fingers, our 4 fingers here, to remain on this side of the bar. Now, if that can't happen, it's not the end of the world. It's not uncommon, myself included, for a pinky finger to flip off the bar or for a ring finger to flip off the bar. In other words, when you catch it, it might look something like, instead of having a whole hand, your pinky might be off the bar, maybe even your pinky and your ring finger. This is not ideal. However, it's also not the end of the world. The key is the bar's got to be sitting on your delts. But when you do this stretch with straps on, it will force you to maintain that whole hand grip on the bar, which means when you don't have straps on, your grip is going to be a little bit better every time you get it in that front rack position. So I'm going to unrack it. I'm going to force my elbows up and in as far as I can get them. Now, my elbows aren't up as high as they normally would be, but that's because I'm being forced to maintain this whole hand grip. This is extremely uncomfortable. Uncomfortable is okay. Pain is not. Again, spend about 20 to 30 seconds here. When you spend some time there, make sure you're staying over the hooks the whole time. Rack it. And if you accumulate, it'll be tricky to get the straps off. That's why you don't want to do cleans like this. If you accumulate 4 or 5 rounds of this throughout your training, test out your front rack position before you start training that day. Test out your front rack position at the end of training that day. You're going to find out that it's improved. You do this on a regular basis, squeeze it in when you can, your front rack position is going to get better. Hope this helps you get stronger, live better, and hopefully be more comfortable in your front rack position.